On December 6, 2023, Mecca, the holy city of the Islamic world, witnessed one of the darkest days in its history as it was engulfed by the whirlwind of a natural disaster. The event began with warnings of the risk of flash floods in Al-Zaidi, a region to the west of Mecca, as a prophetic sign of the harsh challenges to come. Torrential rains overwhelmed Mecca, exceeding human control. The National Meteorological Center had to issue a red alert indicating the city was facing the risk of heavy rain, strong gusts, reduced visibility, hail, and lightning, all happening right in the heart of Mecca. But what led to this sudden change in the weather? Is this a message from God? The city witnessed a complete transformation after the heavy rains and storms, turning streets into raging rivers. Precious historical relics were at risk of destruction, while chaos spread throughout the city. Residents of Mecca, still in the process of recovering from last month's historic flood, had to face a new natural disaster. In the fierce nature of the elements, many questions are raised. What is God's intent in these disasters? Is this a form of punishment from nature? Mecca, often perceived as a land isolated from natural upheavals, has witnessed the force of nature through a recent disaster. Notably, this event not only poses a challenge to the faith of the pilgrims, but also reflects a profound message about impermanence and the law of cause and effect in life. This time, nature's fury not only provided relief from the scorching temperatures of the desert, but also tested the patience and will of the people and tourists on their spiritual journey. The raindrops from the sky not only cooled the earth, but also had a mission to purify, to cleanse the soul, leaving behind valuable lessons about humility and respect for life. But do humans truly understand the message that nature wants to convey? Jeddah City, lying beneath the floodwaters, has descended into chaos. Police forces and civil defense have been mobilized to rescue those trapped and to evacuate vehicles. Amidst this severe flooding in Mecca, tension and anxiety are rising among the pilgrims wishing to visit the Grand Mosque, one of the holiest sites in the Islamic world. The government has issued multiple warnings and safety instructions, urgently calling for the public to limit all outdoor activities in these harsh weather conditions. Simultaneously, a strict warning has been issued against the contact with floodwaters in order to prevent the risk of spreading infectious diseases and other illnesses that may arise from the polluted water environment. Important routes leading to the sacred site have suddenly been transformed into rivers due to the flooding, causing local residents' vehicles to be submerged and creating scenes of destruction. In response to this emergency, the authorities quickly implemented measures including the use of large-capacity pumps to try to drain the water. However, due to the ground's inability to absorb any more water, the drainage encountered many difficulties and could not be resolved in a short time. Furthermore, the drainage system is under great pressure due to being clogged, unable to handle the large amount of rainwater, which is one of the main causes of this flood situation. Flights at the international airport have been delayed, and power outages have affected some neighboring areas. Educational institutions from schools to universities in the affected areas have been closed by the government directives. Mecca provincial authorities have recommended that people stay home and avoid going out into this emergency situation. The rainfall has exceeded the record level since 2009, when a flood had claimed the lives of more than 120 people in Jeddah. According to the Saudi Arabian National Meteorological Center, up to 90 millimeters of rain fell within just 4 hours, a figure twice the annual average of rainfall for the area. The heavy rain has turned many areas into inland seas, creating many obstacles for people's movement. The Saudi Arabian Ministry of Health announced that rescue teams had successfully rescued 5 individuals after their cars were swept away by floodwaters in the Medina region. The power of nature knows no boundaries, and we are witnessing this through powerful and vast transformations on the surface of the earth. Natural disasters are becoming a global concern, from the unexpected floods in Mecca to the global climate change situation. Severe weather phenomena, from fierce storms to droughts, raise the question: can we see a message in these natural disasters?
شوف كيف اليوم 15 رمضان في مكة من غير ما يجي مطر قوي يا رب. ورحمة الله وبركاته. الآن السيول على مكة عند الدائري الثاني.
Is this a warning from nature about the destruction humans have caused to the environment, or are these simply unavoidable natural phenomena? Mecca is often seen as a place far removed from the turmoil of the world, a sacred and peaceful place. But now, storms and floods have made Mecca a focal point of these natural events. Authorities have quickly mobilized forces to assist the people, but with the level of severe damage, recovering and rebuilding normal life will take a lot of time and effort. At this moment, all we can do is pray for the people of Mecca, hoping that they will soon overcome the difficulties and rebuild their lives. Simultaneously, we also need to reflect on what humans have done to nature and our planet. Saudi Arabia, a country often enduring harsh weather conditions, experienced an extremely unusual weather event on Thursday, December 29th, 2023. A hailstorm, combined with heavy rain, astonished both locals and tourists. The severe weather condition caused several roads to flood and be covered in hail, forcing people to seek safe shelter. Heavy rains led to flooding in many urban areas, while in desert regions, the rain formed temporary rivers. Fortunately, no injuries were reported due to the hailstorm. Although a rare weather phenomenon in this region, the hail was large enough to potentially break car windows. Such weather events, though rare, may become more frequent in the future due to effects of climate change. The hail also damaged a portion of crops and resulted in significant water accumulation in desert areas. Thousands were forced to leave their homes in search of safe refuge. Cars floated through streams like toy boats, reflecting the severity of the current weather situation. The Al-Baha region of Saudi Arabia also faced unusual weather phenomena on the morning of Monday, January 1st, with an unanticipated hail and snowstorm. Strong thunderstorms accumulated, leading to infrequent heavy rainfall, affecting the traffic and forcing closure of some of the roads in the area. Due to the adverse weather conditions, authorities announced a temporary suspension of in-person teaching for the day, and students were asked to continue remote learning. Meanwhile, many vehicles were stranded on the roads due to floods and mud, with neighboring areas submerged in rainwater and mud, covered by a thick layer of hail, creating a winter-like scene with snow cover. This sudden and harsh change in weather caused inconvenience and difficulties for the residents of the region and posed challenges to infrastructure and emergency services. Buraydah, another city in Saudi Arabia, witnessed an unusual sight on Thursday as a sudden hailstorm transformed the arid landscape into a white winter scene. This hailstorm blanketed the city in a layer of white ice, turning streets, vehicles, and buildings into a surreal frozen panorama. Along with moderate rainfall, the hail covered the streets of Taf just before the iftar time on Wednesday. The hailstorm caused significant damage to the glass fronts of some shops and broke the windows in many vehicles due to the large size and falling speed of the hailstones.
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله في هاليوم الجمعة 16/6 1445.
Local authorities called for the public to be extremely vigilant and to follow guidance of the relevant agencies during the rainy season. They emphasized the importance of staying indoors in safe places and avoiding dangerous areas such as flood paths, waterlogged marshes, and valleys. Rescue teams acted swiftly to remove the ice and restore normal traffic conditions. They also announced that they were operating according to a specific plan to mitigate the impact of the rain by closely monitoring weather forecasts. Civil defense forces enhanced their readiness to deal with any potential risk and deployed patrol teams. Authorities also warned citizens and drivers to be cautious of weather changes in the region. Finally, if you're interested in the current weather situation in Saudi Arabia and want to discuss it further, comment on the video so we can explore this issue together.
كيف على كيف لا إله إلا الله يا ولد يا ولد.
Apart from unusual hailstorms, Saudi Arabia annually faces devastating floods and flash floods. Daman, a major city in the country, was severely affected by a storm on August 23rd, characterized by heavy rain accompanied by thunderstorms, hail, strong winds reaching speeds of up to 150 kilometers per hour. The city experienced severe flooding with unprecedented torrential rains combined with thunder and strong winds, creating chaos and significantly limiting the activities of the residents. For 3 continuous hours, heavy storms raised the water level of the streets, causing many cars to be overturned and swept away.
لا إله إلا الله يا الربع. الشرايع غرقت الخضراء.
The city's drainage system was unable to withstand the heavy rainfall, turning roads into lakes and causing severe traffic disruptions. Floodwaters also invaded homes and shops, destroying many properties inside. Flash floods paralyzed many areas, affecting agriculture and causing serious damage. Thousands had to leave their homes in search of shelter. In a notable event, emergency rescue teams successfully saved 5 people after their vehicle was swept away by floods in the rural area of Medina. On the morning of August 24th, the holy city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia, a spiritual center of Islam, faced storms and heavy rain. This severely affected pilgrims and caused schools to close, leading to chaos. Wind speeds reach over 80 kilometers per hour, while the Al-Qaqiya area recorded the highest rainfall of 45 millimeters. Schools in Mecca decided to close on Wednesday, switching to online learning to ensure student safety. On Friday morning, following a night of heavy rain, flash floods struck the city of Mecca, causing significant damage to vehicles and personal property. Many vehicles were swept away by the floodwaters, and several major roads had to be closed. The heavy rain continued from Thursday night to Friday morning, prompting the National Meteorological Center to issue weather warning in the Mecca province, especially in areas like Adham and Mason, where the rainfall ranged from moderate to severe. Residents were warned to stay away from low-lying areas which were at risk of flooding, and to be cautious of the dangers of lightning strikes and strong winds. They were also advised to take safety measures when driving in adverse weather conditions. On October 26, 2023, the capital city of Doha in Qatar witnessed one of the most extreme weather events in its recent history. The record rainfall, almost equal to the nation's annual average, poured down on the city, causing flash floods and chaos everywhere. The heavy rain started early in the morning, and soon streets, residential areas, and even major shopping centers were submerged in water. Two of the most famous shopping malls in Doha faced severe water leakage issues. At Villaggio, the collapse of the ceiling and subsequent flooding forced the Virgin Megastore to shut down. Major roads were severely congested due to the overflow of water, prompting the Ministry of Interior to issue an emergency notice advising citizens to avoid these areas and use alternate routes. In response to the emergency, Qatar's authorities coordinated closely to tackle the situation. Rescue teams were quickly deployed to the affected areas and assisted the public and addressed the flooding. However, due to the excessive and sudden rainfall, many areas remained submerged in floodwaters. Large waves created by cars moving on the streets broke numerous storefront windows along the roadside, creating an astonishing sight. Many flights were delayed or canceled, and the road traffic came to a standstill as the tunnel systems and streets were heavily flooded. Residents of Doha and tourists found themselves trapped and helpless, with many struggling to navigate through the challenging conditions.
Oh my God!
Numerous people shared images and videos of the flooding on social media platforms, capturing scenes of waterlogged streets and disrupted daily life. These photos and videos not only alerted locals about the situation, but also drew global attention to the severity of the natural disaster. This flood was not just an extreme weather event, but also a wake-up call about the impacts of climate change and the necessity for preparation and response to environmental challenges. The incident highlighted the importance of investing in resilient infrastructure to cope with the extreme weather changes and events in the future. As Qatar continues to grow and expand, ensuring that its infrastructure can withstand and adapt the environmental changes is crucial. The lessons from this flood are not only for Qatar, but also for the entire world about the importance of preparing and responding flexibly to challenges posed by nature and the environment. Climate change and global warming are gradually altering our Earth, presenting unforeseeable challenges and risks. Natural disasters are not only increasing in frequency, but also their level of destruction. So what new challenges might 2024 bring? Stay informed in this constantly changing environment. Join us for the latest updates on severe weather and global climate shifts. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for instant notifications, ensuring you're always up to date with the unpredictable natural events happening around the world. On September 3rd, Spain issued a red alert, signaling extreme danger due to the flooding in the capital city of Madrid and some areas in the south. Madrid experienced continuous heavy rain for 12 hours, with rainfall reaching up to 120 millimeters, resulting in the flooding of many streets. This event also impacted the La Liga football matches, leading to the postponement of a game at the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium. Several cinemas temporarily closed as well. Madrid's emergency services sent out flood warnings to residents, advising them to avoid using transportation in hazardous conditions. The Madrid metro system had to temporarily suspend operations due to the flooding. High-speed train lines connecting Madrid to Andalusia and Valencia resumed on September 4th, but with reduced speeds in certain sections. Floodwaters paralyzed a road in northeastern Spain amidst ongoing heavy rain, triggering warnings across several provinces. Chaos ensued as another road was overrun by the flood, causing uncontrolled drifting cars. Drivers in critical situations were forced to climb into the high trees or cling to the roofs of their vehicles in a desperate attempt to avoid being swept away by the fierce current. During these tense moments, rescue teams exerted every effort, employing fire trucks as a key means to save those drivers trapped in the violent flood. On the 3rd and 4th of September, relentless rain caused catastrophic flooding in the Spanish cities of Cartagena and Granada. The emergency services of Murcia province in Spain reported handling around 160 weather-related incidents since the start of the week, with intense rainfall causing rivers to rise and flooding numerous areas. Residents in these regions witnessed the distressing sight of their cars being swept away by the violent floodwaters. Additionally, ancient trees, unable to withstand the strong winds, fell and blocked roads, leading to severe traffic disruptions. Following a series of record-breaking hot days with high temperatures in August, Spain now faces challenges with extreme weather conditions. Scientists warn that climate change is a primary driver behind the increase in extreme weather phenomena like floods, droughts, and intense heat waves.
You're right.
Cars submerged underwater and streets turned into rivers, causing traffic chaos in Israeli cities over the weekend, after torrential rain and cold weather wreaked havoc in the country and caused flash floods. A neighborhood with about 18,000 residents in the Israeli city of Lod was completely isolated due to flooding. Local authorities warned people that the only way in or out of the area is by train. Locals told media that their lives in the area had come to a standstill. In other parts of Israel, flooding turned streets into rivers and submerged cars underwater. Rescue services were deployed to rescue people trapped in their vehicles. The number of natural disasters in the United States reaches record highs, including floods, landslides, and even tornadoes occurring in many places across the country, from cities to suburbs.
Oh my God, you guys! Oh my God! Please come inside!
Scientists say the state of California could experience a disaster causing damage of up to $1 billion, but there are still ways to minimize the damage. Accordingly, a new study found that the climate change is the culprit, doubling the risk of catastrophic flooding occurring in California in the next 4 decades. Scientists emphasize that this disaster is huge and unlike normal floods. Dr. Daniel Swain, a climate scientist from the University of California, Los Angeles, who participated in the study, described the enormous flood that will likely sweep through a vast area and could have devastating impacts in California. The expert added that this is a once-in-a-millennium mega flood and is similar to the flooding that occurred in St. Louis and Kentucky in the summer of 2022. However, the flood will sweep through a much larger area, such as the entire state of California.
Putain de merde!
On September 11th, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration announced that there were 23 extreme weather events in the U.S. that caused at least $1 billion in damage, each from January to August this year, surpassing the record of 22 events for the entire year of 2020. This year's natural disasters have caused over $57.6 billion in damage, taken at least 253 lives, and there are still 3 months left in the year. The data from the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration does not yet include the damage from Hurricane Hilary, which made landfall in California, and the severe drought in the South and Midwest, as the costs are still being calculated. We are seeing the fingerprints of climate change across America. What's happening shows the number of disasters is increasing and more infrastructure is being built in places vulnerable to hazards. The exposure, the vulnerability, and climate change are exacerbating these disasters, turning them into billion-dollar disasters. Wildfires in Maui, Hawaii have claimed nearly 100 lives, devastating the Paradise Resort area into a hellish landscape in just a few short hours. On the night of August 8, 2023, due to stormy winds and prolonged drought, a raging fire broke out in the far west of Maui. Then, strong wind conditions caused the fire to spread rapidly and wreak havoc over a wide area of Lahaina, with at least 2,200 buildings damaged or destroyed on the west side of Maui, the famous coastal resort town with around 13,000 residents that welcomes 2 million tourists each year in northwest Maui. Across the island, damage is estimated to be close to $6 billion. This is the worst natural disaster Hawaii has ever faced. The issue has spiraled beyond control and surpassed even the 1961 tsunami disaster that took 61 lives.
Oh my God! Yo, yo!
NOAA has had to add $8 billion disasters to its list since the last update 2 months ago, including Hurricane Idalia and the Hawaii wildfires. Experts say the U.S. must do more to adapt to increasing disasters, as they will only get worse. The climate has changed, while what has been built and response systems have not kept pace with that change. Dumping more energy into the atmosphere and oceans will intensify the magnitude and frequency of extreme events. Many of this year's events were highly unusual, some unprecedented. The trend of billion-dollar disasters is deeply concerning, but there are things we can do to reverse this trend. If we want to reduce damages from severe weather, we need to accelerate progress on curbing climate change and increasing resilience. Not just America, but the whole world needs to change to protect humanity from frightening natural disasters. Trees uprooted and scattered across all the roads. The storm in Taiwan blew everything away. Hail also affected people's lives. Welcome to the footage of natural disasters caught on camera. Hurricane Idalia was a powerful Category 4 storm with devastating strength, causing significant damage across much of the southeastern United States. Idalia inflicted considerable damage to thousands of homes, businesses, and other infrastructure along its path inland. Debris flying chaotically on the roads created an extremely chaotic scene. Many households suffered power outages due to the natural disaster.
Oh, there he goes.
Coastal areas experienced tremendously strong waves. Flooding submerged cars, Hurricane Idalia uprooted trees, causing emergency flooding in some areas of Georgia. Initial estimates put insured losses at $2.2 to $5 billion. The storm's remnants created dangerous rip currents all along the east coast over the Labor Day weekend, leading to additional fatalities and many rescues. Emergency flash flood warnings were issued for southeastern Brooks and Lowndes counties until Wednesday afternoon. Severe storm in Italy. A severe storm accompanied by strong winds recently hit Milan. The government is preparing emergency measures to help areas affected by the extreme weather. Milan residents reported torrential rain and hail early Tuesday morning, flooding streets and uprooting trees, with many falling onto parked cars. Tourist sites also suffered from the bad weather and had to temporarily suspend business operations in many locations. Transportation authorities reported the city's electrical grid was seriously damaged, while an AFP journalist said water in the historic center was temporarily cut off. This is one of the toughest days Italy has experienced in recent years from a civil protection and climate perspective, demonstrating the power of natural disasters tending to overwhelm human power. All citizens should be careful not to go outside unnecessarily to ensure personal safety. Typhoon Haiku made landfall and moved across Taiwan on Sunday, dumping torrential rain, blasting winds, and leaving thousands of households in the dark. More than 7,000 people were evacuated from the high-risk areas, hundreds of flights were canceled, and businesses closed in preparation for the storm. People huddled at home in the dark, staying away from the windows as strong winds toppled trees and sent water tanks flying through the air, scenes of chaos. More than 119,000 households lost power throughout the day as the typhoon swept past southern and eastern areas, although over half of the households were restored as night fell. Trees were uprooted and scattered across roads. All people need to be alert to protect their own safety when natural disasters occur. Heavy rain and storms from Italy swept across Slovenia's Adriatic coast and western parts of the country on Monday. Earlier this month, torrential downpours caused historic widespread flooding. The Slovenian government estimated damages at €5 billion. The rain swelled many rivers over the banks, including the Submerge River in Silje, where about 4,000 people had to evacuate their homes. Some roads had to be closed and affected bridges that were also destroyed due to the natural disaster. The wind blew away many cafe tables and other outdoor furniture, severely impacting people's lives. Strong damage disrupted power supply to around 16,000 households in the region. Through the video, we can see the tremendous power caused by the storm. Wherever there are mountains, hills, and slopes, there is a risk of landslides. A group of people set foot in Naltar Valley and coincidentally witnessed a scene of landslide and falling rocks. They took out their camera and captured the thrilling footage. A while later, a large chunk of earth crashed down the inspection station, leaving nothing behind. Hailstorm in Perpignan. An exceptional violent storm is currently battering France on Tuesday, September 12th. Heavy rain accompanied by hail is falling in many areas. The moving storms will continue into Wednesday afternoon, but will be particularly flooding in from the west of the department and into Roseland Plain. Many residents wonder if the stores can reopen on Wednesday this week. In Thur, a gust was recorded at 117 kilometers per hour, demonstrating the strength of this downpour. But right now, hail is what everyone's concerned about. As the climate changes and glaciers melt, a little-known threat lurks in the high mountains: flooding in glacial lakes. These events happen rapidly, releasing huge amounts of water with little or no warning. The Islamic Republic of Pakistan is a country in South Asia. Pakistan has a coastline of 1,046 kilometers or 650 miles along the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Oman to the south. Inside North Pakistan is the story I want to talk about. On May 7th, 2022, a bad thing happened. The Hassanabad Bridge in northern Pakistan collapsed after a heat wave melted a glacier, releasing a huge amount of water into the streams and surrounding areas. Video of the bridge collapse was captured on camera. Unusually record-high temperatures in Pakistan have melted glaciers in the Himalayas, rising water levels causing flooding in northern Pakistan. Heavy rains and flash floods have damaged many houses, roads, and belongings of the people of this country. The 2022 floods have damaged most water systems in the affected areas, forcing more than 5.4 million people, including 2.5 million children, to rely solely on polluted water from ponds and lakes. Chongqing, one of China's most developed cities and home to more than 30 million people, located at the confluence of 3 rivers, it was once a transportation hub between North and South China. And this is also the place that suffered the worst flood in China in the past 10 years. Heavy rains since July 3rd are believed to have caused much disturbance in central and northern regions of China. July 4th in Chongqing City, heavy rain disrupted the Sibiu rail line on Tuesday. Flooding also inundated some houses in urban area, forcing many people to leave their homes. A 400-year-old bridge was swept away by flash floods due to the rainstorms in Changchacha City, Hunan Province, central China. Disaster in Michigan, USA. Unusual spring rains heralded impending disaster pouring into lakes until the century-old Edenville Dam couldn't stand it any longer. When the dam broke, streams flooded in, damaging a second dam, the Sanford, and forcing 11,000 residents to flee the Midland area.
There it goes.
The water tore through buildings, broke roads and bridges, damaged or destroyed some 2,500 properties, and caused pollution concerns as it swept through chemical plants and hazardous waste sites. It also submerged downtown Midland, a city of 40,000 people, under nearly 3 meters of water. The disaster on May 19th and 20th, 2020, caused at least $175 million in damage and left 2 empty lake beds. A known incident? They have long warned that climate change and increased runoff from the population growth are putting greater pressure on poorly maintained dams. What happened in Michigan, they say, could happen to many other aging dams across the United States or the world. Massive floods swept through the Turkish capital Ankara. Some tunnels were flooded, and traffic disruptions occurred on many roads and avenues. In the Altındağ district, windstorms also broke building windows and damaged mosques. Recently, on June 3, 2023, Ankara was subjected to heavy rain causing extensive property damage. Flood water flooded this apartment building and then submerged a nearby road. People are asked to be careful about the negative effects of heavy rains and floods. Intense rainstorms that inundated the Northeast turned streets into rivers, forced evacuations, and prompted officials in Vermont's capital, Montpelier, to close the downtown area. Floodwaters in some areas surpassed the levels seen during Tropical Storm Irene, the governor said. Irene hit the United States as a hurricane in August 2011 and left the entire communities submerged, claimed the lives of more than 40 people in several eastern states.
Fire departments.
Some videos recorded directly by people show the terrible devastation of the storm. The truck was swept away by floodwaters while crossing a bridge. The Ball Mountain Dam and the Townsend Dam in southwestern Vermont were expected to overflow their spillways, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers warned on Monday night. Vermont remains under a state of emergency, with water in downtown Montpelier running from knee to waist deep on Tuesday, stranding residents in their homes and shutting down roads and businesses. Please leave your discussion comments below the video comments section. Thank you very much for your keen interest, follow-up, and enthusiastic support. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. For now, we say goodbye and look forward to seeing you in our next videos. Wishing everyone a warm day with your family.